Will you keep listening if we only discuss the positive attributes of this reality? This is the ZoliArt Montana podcast. My name is Linda, here with Zoli Althea Brown. Zoli, can you describe or an example of joy?
Well, it's a feeling, isn't it? And to me, joy and happiness are different. Happiness is when I think it's more visceral. We've gotten something we want, and it's very transitory. There's nothing wrong with happiness. It's pretty cool. But joy is very deep. And joy to me comes from a more divine source, more divine piece of ourself also. We feel moments of joy that remind us of things that are comforting. And we feel happiness at times when we ate a big bowl of chocolate something. That's at least how I explain it, but I'm pretty simple. I think joy cannot be taken from you. It is eternal. You are born with that aspect, with the little connectors in the brain for it, the mind, body, spirit. It's the love of the heart and the mind combining to know that we're part of something bigger. And what is that bigger thing? I don't know. What does it mean to anybody? It can be very different. All the major religions speak of joy. Very little of it speaks of happiness that's transitory. So that's what I think.
How can we find joy within ourselves?
I think we just have to recognize it. It's like, how do I find my big toe? Well, it's there. I just have to look at it. I mean, you've got a Band-Aid on it right now, but so what? But I know where that is. And I think we know what joy is. We know that feeling. And we like to express that with other people and with our families and with people we love. It's a silent, I love you that happens. I don't think that it can be really explained with words. I'm trying, but I don't know how well I'm doing it.
It seems like you're doing a good job to me, and it really gets at the heart of the difference between joy and happiness, which I think is important to state because it's easy to seek happiness and pleasure when you're not aware that joy exists under all of it.
I think that's really what we're thinking when we have our list of emotional demands and the desire body. I know Buddhism addresses it probably the best of all the major religions or belief systems that I see, that the problem with life is all our desires that we want, 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 want. How do you get happiness? How do you get joy? By reducing the desires. It's almost like it's a board game, like it's just silly, but it makes perfect sense. And I think we learn as we grow up that these transitional feelings from happiness to joy can happen, and that it can be joyful and happy at the same time. Why not? It should be. You're playing ball with your dog, and I'm not a fan of. I got one of those slingers. Had this pit bull named Gargoyle at the farm. He's 105 pounds. Oh my God, what an idiot! I love that dog, big red nose. And I found that he wanted me to throw the ball all the time. Well, I throw the ball and I threw out my shoulder a little bit. It still kind of wonkies me. So I got a slinger, that long thing with the ball, so I could sling it. But I didn't get a lot of joy or happiness from doing that repetitive motion with a dog. I don't play with animals or kids. Well, I'm just not that kind of a person. But I found joy in seeing his big, smiling, happy, drooling face every time he brought the damn thing back. So I think, and this as a parent, I'm going to address this to you too. As a parent, when your kids want you to do this, this, or this, and you just don't want to, but you do it, the self satisfaction that you get from that. And I think there comes a joy with it. Am I correct?
Absolutely. You kind of get back your childlike wonder and seeing the world in a much more joyful way because it stops you from being in your parent mode of I have this, then this, then this, and oh, what are we going to eat tomorrow? And it gets back into because usually what they want you to do seems silly and frivolous, but it still is worthwhile.
Maybe that's the point. That's the happy part of it. It's silly and frivolous. I know when Tom's grandson comes and he is obsessed with finding turkey feathers. We have probably 40 to 60 turkeys here at the ranch in Montana. We're high up, right? So every fall and spring, there's the turkey powwow in the fall, and I haven't seen many the past couple weeks. There's a couple toms, there's a couple hens with some poults. They're about chicken size now, but the three flocks will come together, and oh my God, it's the cacophony is crazy. That brings me a lot of joy. But Liam is obsessed with turkey feathers. That is so simple. He loves to come to the ranch and he will look, I mean, acres and acres and come back with handfuls of turkey feathers. Now, there's times in my life that I've done that too, but I think happiness can be very age specific. But at any time, I think that we're capable of feeling a deep, deep joy or even a happiness, but it can be specific to what our needs are at that time or our wants.
Right. And it's a way of having a pleasant overall atmosphere, even when things aren't feeling that great. You can have joy, I've realized, even when you're grieving, even when you're angry about something, the joy can still exist alongside those other emotions.
It's like gravity, a force, not a frequency. It doesn't go anywhere. We're like, I think, a 1G planet. It doesn't go and change. If you go to Tibet or if you go to Montana, I think the G force is probably about the same. Somebody might call me on that. Please do. But joy is like a force, and happiness can be a frequency. It goes up and down. It's very affected, I think, by events, by externals.
Yeah, that sounds right. And we think of it as an emotion or something that we get from doing or uh, from fulfilling our desires when we can actually tap into that frequency at any time.
That's a good point. As an emotion, I in this moment would say happiness is more of an emotion than joy. Uh, is joy an emotion? Probably, but it's such an intense thing. And isn't joy something that comes from our heart? I think it's a gift. As I like to say, life is a gift, it's not a right. And so joy, though, is a gift from the Holy Spirit, God, Buddha, whatever you believe in. And it's one of our inherent gifts that we are graced with.
Would you suggest someone go about accessing that gift when all around them the world seems so tumultuous?
The world's always been tumultuous. It's just that we have everything showing it to us right now. I was looking at that yesterday and I thought, my God, you look on the internet, look on the news, there's stuff everywhere. Well, stuff has always been everywhere on this planet. We just haven't seen it. So I think putting things in perspective makes a lot of sense. And try to find time to moderate and mediate that particular feeling that gives you some peace of mind. It can be momentary, it can be you go on, especially guys, go in the bathroom, close the door for half an hour. That can work too. It doesn't have to be place specific. It's internal specific. We have to recognize the signature of joy within us. What does that mean to you? What is that feeling? And I bet that that feeling is the same for everyone. I think that's the given thing, such as certain smells are probably the same for 99% of the population. You smell lavender, if no matter where you are, who you are, you will smell lavender. That's just an idea. But I think joy is a very specific signature that we can learn to recognize and to learn. And I think gratitude to be part of it too.
Yes, you're right about that. And being grateful when you feel like complaining all the time, I think helps bring joy into your life in a more obvious way.
Oh, I did that the other. My God, what a day. My poor husband. I'm glad he had gone to Olympia to see our grandkid. I was just full of myself. I was upset with everything. I was cranky. I thought if I weren't 72 years old, I think I would be having a period or something. But no, I was just in that kind of cranky, icky state of mind. And I finally figured out what it was. And I calmed down and I thought, why do I think it's important to be joyful, happy all the time, considering everything that's happening? I think it's something that we have to invite back in. So I thought, it's okay. I'm going to go easy on myself. I'm not going to bestride myself over this, as mom used to say. I'm not going to beat myself up. because so-called the world right now, you see it, you hear it. All you have to do is turn on one of your devices, which is fantastic that you can do that. AI is going to change everything. I think it's wonderful. But in my field, you have to go within to feel things. And that is what my job is, to try to turn my life to a way that I can say, this is what I do. This might demonstrate to you that it's a human universal condition. Most of the stuff that I talk about is just people. It's just people being people. I don't have special, I'm not a superhero, a guru, a teacher. I'm not that. I really work at just being me and noticing myself and attempting to detach. I try. The other day I didn't do so well at it. Let me tell you. I thought, so what should I do? Well, once I realized that I couldn't do anything to make my ickiness go away, even Sophia Montana, the cat, said, I've had enough of you. She headed to the basement. Like, I've had enough of this. I wasn't storming around, but my energy field was probably red. If you can read auras. But we all get like that. And that's the point. It's part of human nature to be upset. We have to learn the frequency of happiness and the signature of joy. Do something that takes you out of it. So I finally did that thing that the Coptic priest talked about, the spiritual shrug. I said, so what? So I went out and mowed the lawn. I got physical. For me, exercise and physicality really helps me get out of my head. So I got out of that experience. Then I couldn't even remember why I was upset. Wonderful.
What a wise piece of advice, getting out of your head. That's what I encourage my kids to do all the time as well. When they get upset about something, go out in nature, go for a run, do something physical. And it really does, it gets you back in your body. It helps you remember, whatever I'm fussing about really isn't the end of the world. And if it is, what can I do about it in a more calm way?
Yeah, you say of my mother saying, go outside, go play outside. And she probably says how many times a day. So I think it's stuck in my head, but it does make a difference. Now in the winter in Montana, if it's 27 below for a week, I'm not going to go outside. So I'll be inside, but I have modified my life to understand what to do and how to do it. We have a gym downstairs. Thank you for that. But I love that. That works for me. It may not work for other people, but to find something and talk to your friends, look online, find something that will help you get out of your head. Because to me, this monkey mind is what does it, like what you were saying. Going to sleep at night, sometimes my mind is going over grocery list, over this, over that. And that's also part of human nature. So what? What are you going to do about it? We have to find techniques.
Yeah. And if possible, find techniques that don't keep you fussing about the negative or angry or staying in that low vibration of being miserable, because you can do just small changes in order to tap into that joy. And even if it doesn't feel like joy right now, it could feel like, rest or quiet or peace of mind.
That is called if. I will act as if things are better and they will get better. So we have to play. It's like playing with your kids. That's the last thing you want to do is to deal with this kid having a wow moment, like Lucille Ball on steroids. But we have to talk ourselves out of these things because what we're doing, we get rolling with it. I was thinking yesterday about the word that's now so prominent. They were outraged. Outraged. Well, we all know what that feels like. The rage inside is now out. And all of a sudden, we feel like we have the right to affect or infect other people with what our own rage is. Being angry is different than acting angry. So if it's political, religious, spiritual, whatever it is, there are appropriate ways to do that. If we go up and yell at somebody in their face, that's called an assault. You might have law enforcement on your door. You never know. You just don't know. Road rage, whatever. You don't have to engage everybody. So the outrage idea is not joyful. But why all of a sudden do we have a right to be outraged at about everything? It seems to be the word to talk about these days in some circles.
Yes, it does seem as though it's encouraged to get upset and high emotion and to stay there and to make sure you spread that energy to everyone around you rather than having a calm, reasonable discussion about something.
That's a very good, what it appears to be for me. And I was watching a political gal the other day become cursing, using the most bizarre curse words on television to her constituents. It goes all over the world. Why do you do that? Do you think it gets you more attention? Maybe it does. Does it allow you to express yourself differently? You're expressing yourself differently, but that's forever. It's on the internet. It's forever. What happens when you grow up and you're not 32 anymore? And you look back at that and go, ooh, maybe I should have had a little more class, a little grace, a little dignity, a little wholesomeness. And that sounds like they're old fashioned words, but thank God for that. I just think acting conservatively within yourself, you can think liberally about something, but to control yourself, that's the first thing. Did it take me a long time to learn that as a kid? Yes, I was an awful child. Oh my God, my poor mother. I'm going to canonize her. It takes time to do these things. But when we see other people acting out, being outraged, I don't care if it's on television or somewhere in a public arena, you really don't want to engage that, but to be aware of what you feel. What does that make you feel like? How should you maybe change your own behavior? This is what I tell myself. I'll let you know how it goes.
That's one thing I tell myself and my kids as well is when you see something you don't like in other people's behavior, you see somebody that's irritating you or acting out in a certain way that offends you, well, what about them can you change within yourself? Because you're not going to be able to change that person. You can only change yourself.
That's old sage advice. We do project onto other people, and I've joked about this that you do it in marriage all the time. You project on the other person, because you're one. You're in your auric field. You're one person. But the honesty about that comes when we separate ourselves from the event. When we separate our energy field from the person outraging, losing their whatever in public, screaming, yelling, that's a child. That's a 4-year-old in public, and you're what, 50? So there's ways and reasons to become more reasonable, to manage the self. And all the major religions discuss that. The minor religions discuss it. My Wiccan friends, they're pretty amazing. I'm not Wiccan, but I love them because they say, do as thou wilt. That's the whole of the law. Do what you want, but don't hurt others, don't interfere others. And if someone is screaming and yelling or outraging, that's affecting you and it affects the energy field too.
There are ways you can disallow people's energy from affecting you.
Leave. To me, just get out of the way. I have, oh my God, maybe it's my autism, but when I was younger, I started doing something that I still do. If we're at a dinner and somebody's drunk or obnoxious, I grab my purse and say, excuse me, they think I'm going to the bathroom. I just leave. You just leave. You don't owe people what you think you owe them socially. These are constructs. These are like the dogmatic human created pieces in religions that causes us all to fight. Why is it? I love reading Dear Abby. I love reading these advice columns because they're really cool. Some of them I just skip over because I don't want to read or hear what they're talking about. But the ones that are interesting to me, they all say the same thing. We ask advice on what to say. What do you say to Aunt Sally when every time we see her, she says something obnoxious? What do I do when I don't invite this person and they get upset? What do you do? What you have to do yourself is have your own boundaries because theirs don't matter. If you're not stepping over their boundaries, it doesn't matter. Will you insult people by getting up from the table? You might not. It doesn't matter. What matters is for you to hold your dignity and for you to hold your belief systems. And what do you value? What's wholesome for you? And we have gone way off the chart. And, I'm down here in the United States, you're in Canada. I don't know about up there, but oh my God, we are way off the chart with personal boundaries. It appears that one is allowed to go into people's personal life or even their home. There was in one of the advice columns today, this woman in our family, these people always just drop over all the time. My answer was lock your door. Don't answer it. We've told them over and over. Well, what? I mean, really, that's so reasonable. But we don't like to hurt other people. And we don't want to be thrown off the island. In some old societies, if you left the group, they'd hunt you down and kill you because you took all the secrets with you. And so these family units, we still have karmic relations usually, but you don't get to be bullied and you don't get to bully. But we use a lot of excuses, I think. So all that it matters is what is your personal boundary system? And you can speak that in a non-aggressive way.
Make a compelling point about where we are, especially in North America. Canada is very much like the US, where we have accepted people pushing into our boundaries over and over again, and it's become almost normal to not have boundaries in some ways. And I think we have to push back on that.
Um, I think the internet and media has done that. I think humans are naturally curious and voyeuristic. We want to see what other people are doing. How do you get away with that? Or is that okay? Or what does that look like? It's just there are boundary lessons to that too. But I think we have allowed that to overrun our sense of privacy, that we have privacy. My own boundary system is when I do this podcast or when I leave the house to go to town, I want to look nice. That is my outside self. When I come home, I take off those garments and I put on my home clothes. It just works for me. It's a boundary lesson. After this podcast, I go down and I take off all this stage makeup and I'm back to being Zoli. That's what's fun about the radio show is I don't have to do that. Oh my God. But you have to set boundaries with yourself. And what gives you dignity? What is dignified for you? To me, that is dignity. That's how I was raised, and that's how I want to live my life. Nobody else has to do it. Nobody has to do that. You have to do what's right for you. And for people to invade you and to come into your space and demand you say things about your belief system or this or that, you don't have to do that. You just don't have to. And maybe that would give them the grace of going, you know what? I don't have to do that either. There are kind ways of answering people, such as, that's just not something I do. Or, I don't really answer things like that. Then change the subject. That's a great thing. Change the subject. Pretty easy to do with kids all the time.
Distract them with snacks.
That works for me. I've gotten on this thing where I don't eat carbs. I'm eating these seed crackers are made of seed. Oh my God. I feel like I'm a bird or something and I've got all these seeds, but that's a distraction for me. Makes me feel happy. It feeds my endorphins for a little bit. So what? You don't do it all day as long as it doesn't become an addiction. I'll let you know next week.
And next week you'll be talking about recovering from birdseed addiction.
It could very well happen because I'm such an addictive personality, a psychic medium and artist and all this woo-woo stuff. I live most of the time out there. I have a condo here, but I live out there. I come and go. My joke with my husband sees what's here. I see what's not here. That is so true. So it's very easy for me to sit in front of the television with my little bag of seed crackers and go, okay, I get 5. And I'm watching something go, oh, I'm up to 7. That's human nature. So what? So you fix it. So it says self-awareness too. But it's never permanent. We have to keep trying. We have to keep changing. And we want things to be fixed and permanent. We want it to be gravity, but human nature is not.
No, human nature always wants to go the easiest path.
And human nature has seasons. So just like nature itself, it's filled with all kind of events. And this is what we share. I share this with anybody watching this. I don't feel that we have to do the same things, but we do a lot of the same things, but we don't do them all at the same time, and we may do them differently. But your home, I'd like to say, is your private place. That is your privacy. We joke about when I was growing up in the 50s in Alabama, the phone was on the wall. Well, I called you 4 times, but you weren't there. Oh, oh. So things change.
Are there unseen hazards to our energy with um, this openness that we have on social media now?
I think so, but we'll work through it. We go, like my daddy'd say, you go all the way to this area, then you go all the way to that area, and you will eventually balance it out. Hopefully. Sometimes it takes more effort. I think with social media now, it's social. It's social, and we're going through a phase where many people, that is your social media, that is your world. Well, we'll quit doing that too. It's not a permanent thing that's happening. A&I is going to change a lot. I like A&I. Like to look on the shopping sites and see the AI. It's like my husband thinking is non-emotional and clear. I'm going, wow, AI is an operator. That's pretty cool. You know. So it's a different way of thinking. Do we have to be careful? Yeah. You have to be careful of everything. I mean, we have to take care of ourselves. And we let that down, then stuff happens. But social media to me, I don't look at it. I don't deal with it. That's why you and Tammy do this, or you and Tina do this, because it might be the autism. It might be that I'm just not mature enough to do it, but I get all wrapped up in it. It's like a shopping site to me. So I choose to have good boundaries and to collaborate in that way. You're going to have to find when the AI gets bigger and bigger, what are your boundaries with that too? We'll figure it out. People are smart. We'll figure it out.
That's a beautiful example of the extremes, how we're figuring things out from one extreme to the other. And it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. We're just going through some stuff.
We're always going through stuff. The difference now is that you can look on television, on internet, on radio, and you can see people all over the world doing things. So we think the world is in a horrible state, but we are at the end of an older way of being, and the new isn't quite born yet. This is the birth pains. It's going to be icky for a while. So what? So what? See how that impacts your life. What do you want to change to?
You often talk about hope for a beautiful future. Is there a specific timeline for that? You give us
No,
6 months?
no. I I'm a psychic medium, but I'm not a psychic. Um, there are some on the Etsy or the internet sites that are amazing. They're predictive psychics. My spiritual brother John Hogue, oh my God. I mean, he's got it. He figured it out. He's got his way of, he is a political astrologer as well as a psychic medium in that way. Um, I'm not going to quit mentioning names, but there are people that do that. And so in my field, my area is intuition and feeling. And I can sense trends. And if things get closer, I can do that. But what's going to happen, I think, is things are going to get ickier for a while and we will adjust to that. Then we'll get sick of it and we'll fix it. Things are always happening and being fixed at the same time. It's a balance. Sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's like this. But so what? We'll figure it out. The main thing is find within yourself that peace of mind. Where do you need to try harder? I spent the whole day. Oh my, here's an example how we help each other. So we have this huge dining table, and my husband brought it from Olympia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can seat 8 people without the leaf. And I always keep it set because I'm an old Southern woman and it's just beautiful and fun and food. My husband said, I'm making a coat with skins, I think fox and wolf or something. I really don't have a place to cut. Can you clear that table? I'm like, oh my God. I said, yeah, I can do that. So I went through my self pity and what do you mean you're asking me to clear that? That's mine. That's my creativity. I didn't tell him that, but I know he could feel it. I'm glad he asked. What came out of that is within an hour, I said, you know what? I need to go through everything in that dining room. The 3 chests that are in there, all this crap that I'm saving. I need to purge. As soon as I said that to myself and I told him, my husband said, why don't you take and set 3 places at the end, keep those set for me and you and Liam, grandson. Just keep that. So it's best of both worlds. So I spent all of this morning and all of yesterday in a hissy mood because you have to clean out stuff when you're not doing great. Oh my God, that means so much. I'm going to keep it. No, it's gone. So the back of my truck is packed with stuff to take to the donation place. Your junk is somebody else's joy. When I was living at the farm, I'd go to Goodwill. Oh my God, I had to stop going there because other people's stuff they were giving away, I was buying too much of that. But it helped me at a time. I didn't have a pot to piss in, but that's how it was. So your life is going to change and grow. So to be able to take what is yours and put it where it can be used emotionally, physically, spiritually, that is how that evolved. And so we have to grieve this past. That's part of what's happening now. I had to take 10 minutes and grieve that my New Orleans Mardi Gras stuff that has been in there for 12 years I've never used. I need to get rid of that. Why are we attached to material world? There you go, Buddhism. Just chew on that one for a while. Maitreya says, if somebody steals from you, say thank you. Thank you. I'm not there. I'm not there yet, but I would understand that whatever the situation was. So I think when we go through these changes to address your question, how long? It's going to be a couple years that we're going through this, but you're also going to see miraculous change. Oh my God, the things that are happening in medicine, in science, and even emotionally. I think so called people are wanting more inner work. Waking up, I don't know. Am I waking up? I don't know. I probably need to. But I think we grow and evolve through this stress. We got to have the stress. But when we do that, we have to grieve what we have given up. You don't have to stay in it, but you have to say, that's gone. Now, I might live empty for a while, and then here comes the new. We'll see.
Yeah, there really does seem to be a clearing away of people really realizing they need to go within while at the same time coming together in these beautiful collaborations.
That is so well put. You and I chatted the other day on the radio show about the seventh ray, which is what again the Aquarian ray, which is collaboration. You can't do anything really by yourself much anymore. So work with other people because people are God. People are the part of it that makes things happen. You can live alone and you can have a great life by yourself. That's fine. But if you never talk to another person, never collaborate with another person, you may want to readdress why you're here or what you're doing. Are we all here to share the same things? No, we're not. So you have to figure it out. And I'm certainly not making rules for anyone else. But I think that we use our potential? I don't. I'm just like you. I assume not everybody does. There's some people that do. Look at Elon Musk. Oh my God. That's a genius. That's Steven Spielberg. There are people that can access those frequencies a lot better, I think, than most of us.
Yeah, there really is some people that show the huge potential of humans, and yet we're often so quick to focus on what makes us weak. But I don't think we all even get close to our potential most of the time.
Yeah, that's a question I usually stay away from because I don't think I'll get there. I think we have to try with what's presented to us on our plate. What is on your plate to be dealt with? Today, I cleaned my plate that was there with cleaning out the dining room and all that stuff in there. It felt really good. My husband's on the road going to Olympia. I sent him a picture. He said, that is wonderful. So I did something for us. And by the way, that hall closet I talked about a couple weeks ago is still not cleaned out. So that's next.
There's always more work to be done.
Yes, there is.
And that's why we really need each other too, because we can highlight each other's skills in a way we don't always see in ourselves. And we can bring out the best in each other instead of just fighting all the time. Tell that to my sons.
Isn't that true? Yeah, you tell that and how do your sons react or respond when you say that to them?
It depends on the moment. They usually say, "Yeah, Mom, we know," but I think it's a lesson they're learning slowly because they do see they're sharing ideas on how to do things, and they see how when we work together, many hands makes light work. Is something I say often.
That's a wonderful statement. Parents or your mom say that to you?
I've heard it somewhere. I don't think it was my parents, but I know I heard it from somewhere.
That's lovely. I think that might be a Canadian thing. That's an absolutely beautiful statement. It reminds me of the Amish of their barn raising. You know, I used to watch ants at the farm, these huge ant hills that we had in Western Washington. I was obsessed with ants, how they did what they did without apparently arguing. I don't think they have emotions to argue. But what a mirror. It was like the Borg in a good way, the Star Trek Borg. But I think when we work together towards a common goal, something that's higher, that is what we're heading to. That's what's happening. There's a kind of meditation that I don't do, but it is called transmission meditation. Benjamin Krim taught this. It's done very well in all over the world with certain groups, and people gather together and they sit quietly. They say the great invocation. And by saying the great invocation, they mediate frequencies from hierarchy and from spirit to be used on the earth plane. That will be what we do in the future. We're not there yet. People in Japan are very good at this. A lot of them are raised meditating. Their energy signature is certainly different than here, the Wild West. My meditations are walking meditations, or I'll sit for a few minutes. I'm just not that kind of a person. Next slide.
So in the future, we'll use group prayer and meditation to make changes and heal things.
Let me say that from the theosophical viewpoint, yes, that is what we will do, that we will gather at the full moons. Theosophy teaches, and we will do full moon meditations. We will be saying the great invocation, and we will invoke energy rather than beg for help.
The great invocation, that's a specific prayer.
From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men, let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men, may Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose that the masters know and serve. From the center that we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. When you say that, and focus on your Ajna center, the sixth chakra, keep pulling yourself back to it. You are allowing the masters and you are mediating frequency. To do it in a group is very powerful. It burns karma and it helps. It's amazing energy field to do. It addresses the point of light in the mind of God. You're invoking that illumination to come through. And then the heart, we invite the Christ energy into the heart. And then the willpower from Shambhala, we invite that in. So you have light, love, and power. Because we are those three things, is what Theosophy teaches. What people believe in their personal religion, stay in it, do your thing. That's important. After the day of declaration, stay in your religion. They will change appropriately. But we got a couple hundred years to figure it out.
That is such a powerful and yet peaceful prayer. Is that something you say every day?
I used to. I used to. Um, should I be? I don't know. I don't know. There are many people that do. It's really powerful to say in a group of people. I have it on my YouTube channel, where I repeat that if people want to hear that. They can say that with it, or they can say it otherwise and see what it brings up in you, but it's not for personal growth. It is to allow the universal energy field to come into this earth.
That's an important distinction because prayer for people is often for personal gain rather than uh, a more humanity based ideal.
Well, we do that. That's the prayer. I want this. I want that. I want. Well, it's a begging and it lowers your energy field. And to invoke energy, many of the new age people, they've already got that one. They invoke energy. Invocote. Come forth. Come through to me. Well, we are already saying, I am. And because I am, I invoke a greater I am to come forth and to be manifest here on this earth plane, because we are spiritualizing matter when we do that. With a great invocation, you're spiritualizing matter. And so by resting with a good boundary within ourselves and say, I invoke greater health, I invoke this or that, from whatever you believe, it's very powerful stuff. Try it, see what happens.
Try it. I love that you always
Just
come
try.
back to telling people to try. Just keep trying.
Yeah, you don't know. Just try.
You don't have to get anything right. There's no wrong or right or winning. It's just all about trying and keep working on things.
It is. Of course, I want to be right and I want to win because I'm a person. It's what we want. But so what? We try. Maybe, if we can bring it back to, yeah, sometimes I get what I want. Sometimes I don't. It's like the Rolling Stones song. Some can't always get what you want. It's just human nature. It's all okay. I know that. And the older I get, I know it's okay more than I did when I was younger. But I'm not at the point now where I'm creating a lifestyle for myself. Kind of this is it. I'll let you know about that one too.
You're not going to just change your personality and move to New York City for the last, the next decade.
No, no, no. They don't want me there. There's no way that would happen. I'm pretty stuck here in Montana.
Do you think you chose Montana or did it choose you?
My husband chose it. He chose it. It came out of my mouth, let's move to Montana, but I think I was channeling him. We had to move. I had to get out of living at the farm. I couldn't do all this, couldn't finish my degrees, couldn't live my life. And I wasn't going to have a big alpha male living at my house and my farm. Kid doesn't work. You can't do that. So we together started over. We together started over and came here and we started fresh. And that worked for us. Doesn't work for everybody, but it worked for us.
And now Montana is your life, where your life is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. This is it. Me and the bears. We're all staying here. I haven't seen any bears this year. It's been very disturbing to me. I love seeing bears, but I just haven't seen any. I think we're in a drought period in Montana. So-called things are changing and they'll kind of transit through here maybe in the fall when they're very, what is it called, phasic, when they're looking for food, they might come whack down my bird feeder. We'll see.
Make an appearance before they go have a nap for the winter.
Well, they might. I've got a picture downstairs and it's of a bear standing up at the front door with his paw like this. Hello. After that, on the game camera, I put some of those big heavy rods that you jam up under the door handle on every door because they will. They're very strong. They'll just push right in.
Make themselves at home.
Yeah, would eat my seed cookies.
Right. That's not good.
Then I'd be upset. Talk about possession. No, no, no.
Does the places we live change our personality, or do we just adapt to each place?
I think both. I think we become who we're around, and who we're around becomes like us too, because it's always an interaction. Each place has its own energy field. Montana is very different than Washington State, where I lived most of my life. And so things are different than I grew up in Alabama. It's very different. All those three places are different. And we adapt to the energy field of each place. And we change it also by the fact that we are there.
It's amazing how connected we are to the world when we don't always see it. We seem to feel disconnected, but even the movement of the bears and all the little minor changes are part of our world.
It depends on what we notice. I think it depends very much on what we notice, which is what we allow into our world and what we don't. I think living in different places can give us a different perspective. The kind of people that are there. In Montana, there are a bunch of kids that live here. They're in their 20s, they still live here. They're sixth generation Montanans. Sixth generation. What the heck? I never experienced that before. But it's like, who wants to leave Montana? Once you're here, you don't want to go. I mean, it's just that's our ego thing, you know. Well, who wants to leave Montana? I think we become more like the place we live. And if you don't, you probably need to move.
That's a good point. Some people definitely feel stuck where they're at and they don't feel connected to it. And moving often feels like a bigger challenge than possible.
It can be. I knew it was time for me to leave Alabama. I know I'm no longer connected with it. I didn't hate it, but it's just I couldn't feel it anymore. It's like if you're going through your closet and you see some pants or a dress or something, I just don't feel that anymore. And 2 weeks ago, it was your favorite. Things change, our energy fields change. So we have to constantly recycle, reduce, reuse, regenerate ourselves. And the physical world is the way that we do that. We come here to be physical beings. Are we spiritual beings? I say, well, you're a spiritual being in a physical body. Yeah. But I kind of reverse that. You have to be more physical here. You can be spiritual. Of course, you should be. But you're going to have to express that in a physical way.
We have no choice because our physical comes first.
I think it should, but that's certainly different than how I felt when I was in my hippie phase at the farm, 40 years ago. I was wanting everything had to be spiritual, everything, but that's the phase I was in. I was learning. That was my thing. Now I want to take that spirituality and apply it to the physical world in a way that can make a difference.
And that's what you're doing really with ZoliArt and the way you're expressing your creativity and sharing it with the world.
I'd like to think so. When I was younger, I had a blocked blue chakra. I could not speak, and the autism was part of it too. I could think something, but I couldn't say it all during my childhood. And it started doing better when I got counseling starting in Olympia specifically for that. So it did grow and evolve and change. But with ZoliArt, this has been wonderful for me to be able to express my life and to share my life with you, with people who can see in like minded others similar experiences, to give a little comfort and to say we really do share so much.
It does that. It really points out the beauty in the world and also in how we have so much similarities and yet we all have our unique gifts.
If we didn't have so many schools, we'd fight like hell most of the time. We see in others what we don't like in ourselves, as you well told your sons. But we also try to help and we love others. I've been watching something that has brought me to tears. It's the YouTube channel on the honor walk with people that were getting ready to pass. And they pushed the bed down the hall of the hospital with the families walking with them. I think they're going into surgery. I don't know where they're going. But the nurses and the doctors and everyone stands as they pass.
Wow.
Nothing is said. It's an honor. It's an honor walk. And we can honor other people like that daily. just by being present for them and holding energy for them for a specific period of time. You don't have to martyr yourself, but to allow others to express and to see the similarity in our state of being. Someone screaming and yelling, that isn't expressing, it's ridiculous. So you know the difference, you know the feeling, but see, there is that joy. And so those people feel that joy that they are being supported when their loved one has hours or minutes to live. There's the joy and the grief. It's all one ball of wax and it's all acute. It's at an acute and critical level. So you want to remember that. Those are things you want to remember. And the dignity of those people, the healthcare workers, I know some of these people, they're amazing people. Amazing. I can't do what they do. I don't have the personality for it. So not only will we come and look for what our soul sends us here to do, but what is the personality that you have, that you've developed or are developing? And how is that going to be appropriate to allow you to do, hopefully, what your soul sent you here to do?
And that's what we're all working to find out. What did your soul send you to do, and how are you actively working towards doing that in your life?
Yeah, to me, it's like a jar that I open and close and open and close. It's like, what's in there now? Well, that didn't float to the top last time. So there's always surprising things. There's the Fool Tarot card, which is the guy standing with his dog with his little wand thing is on the edge of the cliff. He's got 1 foot off. Like, what's going to happen? Are you being an idiot? You're not looking, or are you, oh, it's okay, whatever happens? There's this dichotomy. Everything is a dichotomy. And when we just notice one part of it, I think we miss out. But that's human nature too.
That is a perfect depiction of humans. That is what we do. I guess we could leave on human nature. I think that might be a good place to end it.
I think it's a good place to stop.
Wonderful. Thank you,
That's it.
Zoli. What a wonderful
Thank you.
conversation as well.
It's always wonderful. I'm just so grateful. God bless.